So we can skip neck day?
Yeah, I think we can skip neck day.
Okay, good to know. I'll cross that off the list for the workout routine.
Hey everyone, welcome back to The Grid. We're here at episode 8 talking about the driver's training and comparing our workout routines.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, hot girl, hot guy summer is right around the corner, and everyone's getting, I feel like everyone does a push at the beginning of the year. They're like, new year, new me. Spoiler alert, it's never a new me, it's the same old me.
Yeah.
And, usually it's, I'm in a new year, I'm going to get a new workout routine down, but then really spring turns a corner, and in the Midwest, you're either in like a 30-degree day and it's snowing, or it's like 60 degrees and warm and sunny, and you start to get a little bit of a taste for summer, and that's when people really kick it into hyperdrive, They're like, we really need to bounce back here. Hot girl summer, hot guy summer's around the corner, and so it'll be interesting to see what the F1 drivers do to prepare for their season and see if, our new workout routines are going to put us in shape to be in an F1 car. Well, yeah. I guess we're driving next week, so...
Oh, that's...
2 weekends.
Yeah, 2 weekends. We'll see if our necks can survive that G-force.
I don't know if I've ever, thought about neck strength.
Oh, absolutely. And I think we kind of saw it with Kevin Magnussen coming back out of the blue, so he hasn't been training at all. And he went through all of the testing, well, at least a portion of the testing, is now doing the races, and he's, struggling with his neck strength. They're always, teasing him and, poking it, because I'm sure it's in a ton of pain. If you haven't, it's just like any muscle. If you haven't been working out, it's gone. And, when would you normally work out your neck? This is the only reason I can think of. You'd need a strong neck.
Yeah.
Or, a fighter pilot.
Yeah, I didn't even know there were neck workout routines.
Well, listen, we're gonna dive into those routines today. We'll see if we can measure up to what Formula One drivers do.
Quick question: if you touch another Formula One driver's neck, do you get fined just like if you touch their car?
I don't think the FIA has really regulations on that, but I can check. But I guess to dive into the topic today. Training, we all know, is very important, which places a lot of emphasis on the trainers. So I think we've seen some of the trainers in clips. We follow a lot of the drivers on Instagram, so we see a lot of their trainers in their videos that they post. I think most notably is Angela and Lewis Hamilton, because they hang out all the time. And you're with your trainer all the time, right? So they travel with you to all the races. They have to train you in the off season, so they're always there. Lewis and Angela, I think, last weekend were, skydiving together, and it was an off week.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. So they do a lot together. I know, Daniel Ricciardo's trainer, Michael, he is from Australia as well, so I think Daniel hired, one of his, hometown friends to travel with him and do all the training. And then I think we see a lot of, Pierre Gasly's trainer, so they seem like really close relationships.
Well, if you're spending that much time together and you're traveling consistently with them, it has to be a close relationship. You don't want, if you have to see someone all the time and they're pretty involved in your personal life, you're going to want to have a very good, solid relationship with them.
Yeah, which is why I was wondering if the driver hires their trainer or if it comes with whatever team you're on. And I dug into it a little bit just because I was I would want to pick my own.
Oh, yeah.
Trainer, and then especially moving teams, if you get acclimated to one trainer, you don't want to have to switch every time you move teams. Daniel, I think he had a different trainer when he was with Red Bull, and then hired Michael when he moved Renault McLaren.
Interesting. So it is that the driver really determines the trainer versus the team?
It sounds like the driver picks their trainer for every team besides Red Bull and AlphaTauri.
Oh.
I don't know why it is, but...
Do they have assigned trainers for the team, or do they hire someone that they almost a
matching?
a matching? not a matching, but more so, not everyone's going to vibe with the same style of workout instructor. I'm thinking of a workout instructor. Some people really positive encouragement.
Yeah.
I want someone to yell at me and tell me doing a shit ass job. So that's really what's going to motivate me to do another push up. But I wonder, do they do they pick the trainer with the driver in mind, or is the trainer really already assigned to the team, and then, you know, whoever they put in the slot really gets that trainer?
You know, I'm not entirely sure. I think they might just have it for the team. I know, like, if you watched Yuki's episode on Drive to Survive, they, like, sent him off to, like, his own training, like, of a known trainer.
That was one of my favorite episodes of the season.
They're like, Yuki's lazy and he's not working out, so we have to send him to a different location.
When he was, like, leaving, I think he was in the UK, somewhere in the UK, when they gave him the orders. They were like, where did they ship him out to?
I think it's Milton Keyes. That's where they have, like, some Red Bull facilities.
Gotcha.
But it doesn't sound like there's a lot around otherwise, so I think drivers tend to dislike it just because of that. There's, like, nothing really to do besides
no distractions.
Train. Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense, because I remember they, like, showed the camera of him leaving the UK. It's no surprise, it's the UK. It's raining when he's leaving. He's wearing these, like, you know those, like, Adidas slides?
Yeah.
that you wear around the pool?
Yeah.
I was like, this fits the whole, like, you need to train better.
I also just love watching them, like, pack all their stuff into, a really nice sports car. You know, it's like you have, like, these giant suitcases that you're, like, trying to, like, awkwardly fit into this tiny car. It brings me a lot of joy. That was a good episode.
That was. Okay, so it makes sense that they probably pick someone who they know, they trust, especially with these younger drivers too.
Right.
Obviously they want to trust the athlete, but there are lots riding on that contract, so they want to make sure that they're properly trained and have someone who knows what they're doing. I wonder, like, how do you even get into F1 training?
I have no idea. That's a good question. I feel like most trainers just know which muscles work for which athletes, so you have to be, like, an athletic trainer. I don't know if there's, like, a specific, like, F1 training you have to go through to be a trainer for a driver, but I feel like each of the trainers take on extra roles as well. So on top of just, like, working out, you have to watch the driver's diet, because that's really important, as well as their jet lag. So you have to make sure, like, they're getting the right amount of sleep and when they're sleeping, all of that, especially because we just had the race in Australia. A lot of drivers got there early, just making sure that they were, like, well rested and could properly do the time change. And then I was reading also, like, Kimi's trainer, who's been with him since he started racing.
Wow.
Also is a psychologist, kind of like a full body trainer.
That's really interesting, and I forgot about the whole jet lag aspect, because it's, even if you're just going on a trip for fun, or like I used to travel for work a lot, it's so challenging those first couple of days, like having your brain think right. And if you think about operating a piece of very expensive equipment, or it has a very low threshold for error, you really need to be on top of your game, and the mental game is almost just as much as important as the physical game.
Yeah, absolutely, because they always talk about how quickly you have to think too, obviously, like if there's another car coming, when they tell you to, like, switch buttons and dials on the steering wheel, all of that, and you're moving however many miles per hour, all of that is difficult if you're not well rested.
So more of like a wellness coach rather than just like a trainer.
Yeah, absolutely. But for the physical work, a lot of the trainers target what we were talking about before. It's like neck strength, back, calves, glutes are apparently the main areas. I feel like when we do workouts, not necessarily the neck, but like calves, glutes, I wouldn't say back, but we'll see how we measure up.
Yeah, I grew up playing ice hockey, so my lower body strength is much better than my upper body strength. It's actually terrible how weak I am when it comes to upper body strength. Definition of I don't skip leg day. I do the opposite of that. Leg day every day for me.
Yeah, I feel like that's how I'm gonna end up too when we go through these workouts. So I guess we can start like top down. Neck we've hit on, and for people that don't know a lot of Formula One, the neck and your head is the only thing sticking out of a Formula One car. So that has to be really strong because it's taking on the brunt of the G-force. So when you're...
Makes sense when you think about it.
Right. Every time I say G-force, when I'm like trying to explain this to somebody, they're always like,
yeah, what is G-force? I'm gonna be that person that's gonna ask the question, what is G-force? So
if you were to like roll down a hill, it's one G that's like pushing you down. It's just gravity. But if you were to take a roller coaster down a hill, it's extra G-force. And they said roller coasters are about 5 Gs. So if you think about it, like, you know how your body's pushed back in a roller coaster? That's why they have to train, to make sure they can like sit up and keep their head up Versus like when I'm on a roller coaster, my neck is just like
flopping around.
Yeah, I feel sore when I get off a roller coaster now.
That is, especially the larger ones, that makes a lot of sense. And so if you imagine that's the main activity that you're doing every day in, day out, and you need to actually pay attention because you're operating the vehicle in motion.
Right. So when the drivers take off from a start, it's 2 Gs. But when they go around corners, it can be like 6.
Ooh.
So, and that's only important because you have to be able to keep your neck up to keep your eye line proper so you can like see the apex of every corner. So that is why their neck has to be so strong. Otherwise, I feel like for us daily, everyday people, probably not important to us.
So we can skip neck day?
Yeah, I think we can skip neck day.
Okay, good to know. I'll cross that off the list for the workout routine.
But I will tell you some of the exercises, and this is going to be difficult only because these aren't like common exercises, so describing them is a little difficult. So they have like machines that you can like push your neck back on, and it's like weighted. Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yes.
And then they also have things where they put on like resistance bands and pull against them, which I feel like if anyone's on any F1 Instagrams, there's a lot of, just because it looks so awkward. But then there's also like ropes almost on a helmet where a trainer will pull against them to imitate G-force as well as like jerky curves, so they'll kind of jerk it a little bit, which this just sounds extremely painful and uncomfortable.
Yeah, I'm thinking about if I fall asleep on my neck funny, but like just consistently that's occurring, that would be miserable.
This is one that I was like, I don't think, 1, I would ever need this, 2, I could ever do it. Because they train so much so they can lift 80 pounds with just their neck.
80 pounds? I don't even think I could lift 80 pounds with my arms.
Yeah, so I went through this one and I was like, this is one I feel like Jacq and I can safely say we cannot do.
No, I think my neck would break.
Yeah.
You know when you get on a plane and you have to lift your suitcase?
Your suitcase over your head, and that's when you realize how weak you are? We're about to experience that.
That's not even 80 pounds, and I can even lift it with my arms, let alone my neck.
Well, that segues perfect into our next section, which is arms.
Wow, is this just hate on my lack of strength everywhere in my body?
Look, we're working down the body, so we'll get to like legs, and I think you're just gonna shine there.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you start with the weaknesses so I can grow to the strengths here.
So this is another one that's important for G-force. So you're moving the steering wheel, you gotta make sure you can operate like the buttons and dials on the steering wheel, because if you've seen a Formula 1 steering wheel, it has to be over 20 buttons, dials, that you have to press during the race.
It almost sounds like a video game in the sense of like which buttons you're pressing when to control the vehicle.
Exactly. So I read an article that said, imagine trying to adjust the time on your watch while being spun around by your ankles. And I was like, there's really not much I could do, I feel like, if I was being spun around by my ankles.
Yeah, the watch would not be being adjusted.
Yeah. So that's like how they compared being able to change dials while you're driving.
So not an easy feat.
Right. And then another thing that they were talking about was because of the way, you know how like the seats for the drivers are like formed perfectly to their bodies, but they're also like formed at a curve. So they said that they have to do a lot of like pull-ups, a lot of back strength to make sure their upper backs don't get ruined completely from being in these seats all the time.
That makes sense.
And I'm like, I feel like just sitting on a desk chair for like most of my day is probably ruining my back.
Oh, I think about this all the time. My posture is terrible from working a desk job. And I like find myself trying to constantly like straighten it out. And do you ever get where you've been working and sitting in a specific position for a long period of time, and then you realize that you've been slowly hunching over further and further and further?
I don't.
Okay, just me? Well.
It's like, what do you like, look like a little gremlin?
Well, I think it's just because I like try to, especially when I'm on meetings, I'll try to like stretch my back out on my chair, but I'll notice like if I'm really working or focusing on something, I notice that my posture will get even more hunched over the desk that I'm working at, and I think it's just because I don't remind myself to keep that, the back straight.
Yeah, I feel like we both just kind of adjusted sitting here while we're talking about it.
Maybe I need to start doing the Formula 1 driver back workouts.
Yeah, so that would be pull-ups.
Well, nope, can't do that.
Yep. Press-ups.
What is a press-up?
I think it's like when you're I don't know how to describe it. Like, I only know how to, like,
Oh, I see. Catherine's doing kind of like a push-up motion, but it sounds like it looks like it's at a little bit of an angle.
And then bench presses, which, like, that's pretty common.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I feel like we're kind of iffy about that. Like, I don't feel confident in my back strength.
No, I feel like there was at one point in my life where when I was really consistently working out, maybe, but now, no.
Arm strength, maybe.
You have way better arm strength than I do. It's laughable.
Yeah, because I, like, escape work during the day, and, like, we'll go down to my building's gym.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, I'm, like, watching other people down there, and I'm like, okay, I'm still very weak. I'm just doing what I can here.
I just, like, never been a fan. I think it's just because I've always focused, so the sports that I've done throughout my life have been very primarily focused on lower body strength. And so I never, like, really worked out those muscles a lot. And then when I really got into yoga for a long period of time, I would do, like, these strength-specific workouts to be able to increase my upper body strength to, like...
Oh, yeah, you were doing core power for a long time, and that was, like,
yeah,
that was pretty intense.
And so that was probably the best my upper body strength had been in a while, but after that, quarantine hit. I was, like, not really motivated to keep that up, so... I still work out. I don't, you know... Still on the record to show up. Go. I'm not just sitting on my couch all the time, but I mean, I do a lot of cardio, and I need to be better about doing the upper body strength, you know?
Well, we're moving to the places where you're really gonna exceed here. So we're moving on to leg muscles. So a lot of emphasis on quads and calves. And this is because drivers brake with their left foot, which I didn't realize. And they can brake over 1,000 times in a race. So I was thinking about that because I was like, when I drive long distances, like I feel like my calf muscle even just kind of gets tired having my foot on the accelerator for long periods of time.
You don't brake with your left foot? I brake with my left.
You drive with both feet?
Yeah, you don't?
No.
Do I? I'm trying to picture myself driving a... No, I guess I don't drive with both feet.
You should not be driving with both feet unless you're driving manual.
No, I think it's because I'm thinking of the pedal being on the left, but no, I definitely only use one foot to drive. Don't worry.
If we're putting you in a supercar in 2 weeks, you better know how to drive.
You know, it's like one of those things where, you know your work password, you enter it every single day, and then, like, that one day you sit at your computer and you're like...
And you have to think about it as soon as you think
What's
about
my password?
It's like, yeah.
And you type it at least 15 times a day, and you're like,
right.
For the life of me, can't remember what my password is. I feel like I just had that moment where I was like, how do I drive?
Yep, I feel ya. Okay, but if we're training like an F1 driver, what do they do? So they do squats, deadlifts,
Easy.
box jumps.
I can do box jumps. I just don't prefer them.
Yeah, I feel like how high is the box that we're talking about? You know, like I feel like I haven't done them in a long time.
I'm vertically challenged.
Yeah, so I'm like, if it were like a foot off the ground, fine. But if we get like 3 feet, 4 feet,
no, it's a no for me. That's like as tall as I am.
That's true.
I'm like hopping my whole body height there.
But I feel like squats and deadlifts, we've got.
Oh, easy.
Yeah, love doing squats. Deadlifts, not as much, but like I can still do them. I'm capable. But that's legs pretty much. So I feel like we've got that covered.
Yeah, that's probably the easiest of the workout regimens that you've just talked through that I've heard so far.
Yeah, and I guess with that though, we skipped over core.
Oh. I fucking hate core, but I can do core. Like, that's the one thing. When I was a freshman in college, I lived with the athletes who were around me. I got randomly put in athlete housing. Mm-hmm. And the one benefit to that was, a lot of my friends were on, like, very strict workout plans, and a lot of them were on the track and field team. So they were always, like, wanting to do core. And so I think that desensitized me to, like, the pains of core, but I still don't enjoy it.
Yeah, I feel like core, for whatever reason, is the most painful workout. Because even if I do, like, 100 deadlifts or, like, weights for arms, nothing is more painful than doing a core workout.
Planks.
Planks? Why? Why do they hurt so badly?
Yeah, every time I do a plank, I question my sanity.
Yeah, that's fair. But I feel like some of the core workouts that I've seen for the F1 drivers, we could do. Would we have fun? Probably not.
I'd probably cuss the entire time.
Yeah, but doable. So they do something like a Russian twist with like one of those disc weights, so it like imitates like a steering wheel type of deal.
I can do that. I've done the Russian twist with weights before.
Yeah, and then they just do other like common core workouts. So I feel like we can do that.
Okay,
Planks,
check.
We can do. Sit-ups, done.
Am I having a great time while I'm doing it? No. But can I do it? Absolutely.
Sure, yeah. Okay, so this is where we shine. The next section. Cardio.
Oh, sign me up.
Yeah, love cardio. So F1 drivers obviously need to do this for stamina. The races are really long. Their heart rate's up for an extended period of time. For that, they do normal things, cycling, running, rowing, whatever really the driver prefers. Because I know like Jensen Button used to like run triathlons. And then like Grosjean, you remember Grosjean from Haas? Mm-hmm. He did cross-country skiing. So I think it's more of like a preference there.
Cross-country skiing for cardio.
Yeah. Isn't that the one where you just kind of like move? Okay, I've seen people out in Chicago here doing that.
People cross-country ski in the city?
Well, when it's like snowy. It's like by the lake.
I guess it's
and like the grassy areas.
All right.
It looks odd. I'll give you that.
I mean, your apartment's great for just getting the lay of the land, you know? I don't know if I would ever be like, I'm bored on a Sunday. Let's go cross-country skiing at the park.
Yeah, I feel like you need to be somewhere like exotic to do that.
Or not even just exotic, like somewhere in nature, like not in the middle of Chicago.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. So cardio though, I feel like we've got. We like running.
Yep. I just ran a half marathon. I think I could do cardio, no problem.
Yeah. The other thing that I think Formula One drivers, it's more unique to them versus some other athletes, is reflexes. So like reaction times. Obviously you're driving a car at super speed, so they have to be able to change in any second. For that though, they do like kind of normal things like boxing, or like if you've seen drivers before they hop in their car, sometimes they do like the tennis ball thing, and I guess I need to describe that, but it's their trainer has tennis balls in their hands, and I think the drivers have their hands on top of the trainers, and it's almost like that, you know, that hand game you used to play as a kid where you like try to like slap the other kid's hand?
Yes.
Like moving really fast, but so like the trainer will drop the tennis ball and the drivers have to quickly move and pick them up, and it's 2 at a time.
That's really difficult. My reflexes are not great.
I kind of want to like test these out. I feel like one day we should try to train as an F1 driver and see if we can survive.
Yeah, I think there's a couple categories we do really well in, and a couple categories that would probably be really funny to watch back.
Yes. But reflexes, I feel like we could probably manage. I don't think we wouldn't exceed, but it wouldn't be awful.
Yeah. I'd say solidly average.
Yeah, that's fair. The one category that I would almost just say no thank you to is acclimating to climate.
What does that even mean?
So like Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, hot.
Yeah.
Very hot. Like Singapore, very humid. So they like will sit in a heat chamber.
Oh, that's a no for me.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot more no for you. You are...
It's a big no for me.
For context, Catherine keeps her apartment the temperature of a freezer at all times. I like things a little bit more warm, but I think naturally our friend group is... I mean, we live in the Midwest. We grew up in the northern region of the U.S. We like the cold.
I don't even like sitting in a sauna for very long.
No.
But that's a full rundown of F1 drivers training.
Okay, I think we could solid like C plus it, maybe C minus.
Yeah. I feel like a C plus. It might be a little generous given like the neck arms situation, but
there's some things we'd completely fail, there's some things we'd knock out of the park, and then there's some things that would be just like meh.
Yeah. Not
great, but not bad.
So that's how we would do as an F1 driver.
Well, we'll see in 2 weeks. I'm gonna start my like neck regimen now. On our vacation, we're gonna wake up. You see me doing neck workouts.
We'll get you like a weighted helmet.
Oh God. So we will be traveling the next week. We're going on our adult spring break. So be on the lookout for some videos. We'll post about where we're at. And we'll see you back here next week to talk about the Italian Grand Prix. Well, thanks so much for listening. We love to have you here. Like, subscribe, wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Instagram. We have links to all our social media on our website, gridgals.com.
And that's Checkered Flag for this session. We'll see you back on the grid next week.